All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, and we're back to talk about The Walking Dead Season 11. We're on Episode 8. It's the last episode of 2021 as far as I know, and it's 6:45 in the morning. Now, I know I'm not the only one that's done this. I'm sure that there are other people that have the bigger Walking Dead channels that were up at, stay up till it comes out and then talks about it and then has all their time to edit. But this is as early as I can do for the people who have AMC Plus that want to talk about this early. It puts us a week ahead, and yeah, if you, I still don't get why people that really love this show don't pay the $5 to watch it early. But again, I also understand the ritual. So this is just a way for me to just be ahead of the game a little bit and not, it frees me up to do other things. It's early morning talk with Rob. So yeah, as far as I know, this is the last episode of 2021. And we'll start the next batch probably in February, which is a really long time considering October just started. November, December, January. We got like months now where we'll have to wait for the return of this. Why did we start so early? I don't know. This usually has only maybe a month break. If I remember correctly, we usually stop in November, December. And if I'm going to be really honest here, for how they left it, for all those months to wait, it's kind of a letdown. I feel like the best moment, the most tense moment, the moment where we thought maybe somebody would die, happened in Alexandria, and yet no one did. We don't watch this show just so that we can eventually watch our characters die off and be upset about it. But this is usually the time when they do, and they did set up a lot of potential ways to die. I feel like I'm in a game, like one of the Telltale games, where they all go, okay, I'll go with this person, we'll do this, and this person goes over there, and this person goes over there, and you go, okay, which one of these people is going to die? But in the end, nobody bought it. Nobody bought it, and another disappointing thing was this was hopefully going to be the end of the major part of the Reaper storyline. And by that, I mean, unless they killed them all, which I didn't think they would do anyway, because usually you have some stragglers, you need to keep bloating up this already bloated cast, or at least keep Leah alive or something like that. But no, we don't even finish that up, and that was disappointing. And we don't even get a resolution between Negan and Maggie, which was something I think a lot of us wanted. No, this was all just action, and that's, for what that was, it was kind of interesting. Angela Kang was talking about how, this is our people that we've been following for 11 years, learning from their enemies, taking on, doing things that they would do, like, moving a herd, walking with them, infiltrating like they did. And that's all well and good. So I got this split up into two sections between Alexandria and Daryl, Maggie, Negan. And since nobody died, we're going to start with Alexandria first. So there's a big storm going on. And I thought that the potential here was really good. But we see nothing. Once they set up the teams, we see nothing of what happens. Now, if I'm wrong and there's another episode next week, then maybe that will finally, end things for more properly. But no. So everybody leaves to go. There's a fire on the windmill. The wall is coming down. Walkers are getting in, and then they need people to stay behind and protect the house, which is all we see. So is it safe to assume then that when we come back, we're going to see them putting out the fire and them putting up the wall, and that means that we're just going back? Like, why not just make this an extended episode, which is another shocking thing? That this was with, you got the opening title, you got the recap, and you got Angela Kang's thing at the end. That puts this at 51 minutes. Now you subtract all of that, and you've got basically a standard episode for a fall finale. When they could have, if there's a bunch of stuff that they're going to show us when we come back in 2022, that's that should have been put in here. The rest of whatever happens in Alexandria on this night should be here, not in some other episode coming up. So that being said, forget about what happens to Carol and Aaron, who all, like Carol's got plot armor, so whatever, but nobody else does. So all we have left is Judith and Rosita, Lydia, bunch of kids, and the one woman that's left from like one of the from like Negan's old group, I believe, who when she pops her head up, I was like, oh yeah, she's still in this. I don't even remember her name anymore because there's so many people that it just it's nice that this person gets to come in and act and get a paycheck, but I mean I don't remember seeing her for this entire season. Which is another thing about like what do they do with all these people? All these people that have had all these actors who had nothing to do. And now it makes me understand more what the actor who played Jesus was like. You know what? I want out of here. Kill me off. Because Jesus is one of the best characters in the book, and yeah. And so it's the same thing with Rosita. Rosita was a badass character. She's a badass character in the comics. She got her in the comic book. Spoilers for the comic books, guys. So here we go. I mean, she even wanted. Christian Serrato's even said that she wanted her comic book death. She didn't get it. She died when when Alpha snuck into Alexandria, or was it the kingdom that they were doing the big old festival at? Wherever it was at. She was one of the victims, and she ended up with her head on a spike. And it was ultra sad in the books because she was pregnant. Made it even more impactful. But they didn't. And in fact, Rosita, or Christian Serratos, had a kid in real life, But she's back. She's looking great, but they still haven't done anything with her. And so in this, they give her this great moment to shine for a second, to remind us it's of the character that she once was and still is, but we just don't get many moments like this anymore. In fact, when she went out the door to protect everyone, I felt like, oh God, this feels like a last stand. This feels like either Judith is going to have to step up and help her, or she's done, and it's going to be tragic. And it's going to be another person written off the show. Because, like, as Carver would say, God wanted them, it was their time to die. But no, and it's not. And she doesn't die, and that's great. I am relieved that she didn't die, because I don't want any of our characters to die on this show at this point. I'm like, fuck it, give everybody plot armor. And she does get this iconic moment where she's come walking in and she just turns and says, stay away from the windows. And she does. They filmed it pretty good. I liked it. They show her just kicking ass. But I did almost think, like I said, I thought Judith was going to maybe go out there and help her. Like, she can't stay back. She has to help. But she doesn't. Now, we also have the kids. And you got Gracie, who gets a pep talk from Judith. About how to use your fear to help you fight. Well, the idea gives her a little too much of a I want to be like Judith. And when all the walkers are coming in, that's when she goes into the basement that's flooding to I want a weapon like you guys. So this separates Judith and Gracie from the rest of the group who have now gone upstairs to hunker down. Now I can already tell what's going to happen. They already looked at it. Flooding basement, electricity, walkers coming down. What's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. They're going to electrocute. I don't know what's going on with my laptop all of a sudden. The suddenly a screen just decided to open up. um, they're going to get up high. They're going to knock the electricity down and fry a bunch of walkers. Spoiler alert. I mean, you can see it. It's written, so it's like that takes the tension out of it. Show us this. Do this in the finale. But now we'll wait. We'll wait on this. We'll wait on this obvious thing that's going to happen. Now I did like Virgil and Judith's little moment where he's telling her that you've become her, that your mom would be really proud of you. Now, he could have said she went after your dad, but I don't even know if he knows. But that would have been nice for Judith to hear, right? If they could have given that information earlier to Virgil to have for Judith, to give her some kind of hope that both her mother and father are coming back. And it's so weird to say mother because, Lori was her mother, and it's been so long, though, that she's not anymore. She, like, will she ever feel that way? Like, I'm sure that she has people or that had told her about Lori and stuff, but Michonne is her, like, mother. She's the person who's there. She's the one who stepped in. She's the one who trained her and taught her and loved her while Lori was not there. And it's sad. It's really sad because Lori died, like, a long time ago. A long time ago. And boy, does that put some shit into perspective. What was that, season 3? 4? Early 4? See, even I can't even remember how far back it goes. I want to say the end of season 3. And that's about it for the Alexandria stuff. It had great atmosphere, and I thought it was shot interestingly, because they're in a tight space. But other than that, that's what happens. Now switching gears to the more wide open set with the bigger Walker herd and them trying to infiltrate Carver's stronghold, and Carver just being this horrible, like, it's not the actor's fault. I want to make sure that because we have this tendency, I think, to have a hard time disassociating the actor from the character. Now, I don't blame the actor. You know what I mean? We see him, he's the face, but he's a terrible character. He's an awful character. And he's so generic to me. They can give him any background they want. Oh, they're military. I'm like, who gives a shit? He's uninteresting, like, man who, God, we are chosen by God. Man, we should have had this character like a million years ago. Because it's just walking a bunch of guys from the military to keeping them together by, God's plan, and we're all his chosen. That sounds like a story that should have happened way back. Like they in fact they almost sound like somebody who would have been in like Negan's group, like as a challenge to Negan, like we had some other people, motherfucker, or like have Negan talk about these people that used to be a part of him and broke off or something. I don't know. It's just not interesting. And the more he goes on and on about being chosen and not, we stayed and everything like that, I'm just rolling my eyes. I feel like the other characters are rolling their eyes. Like, oh God, is he still going on about this? And their whole thing of like loyalty, which loyalty is great, but when your leader's fucking crazy, it's time to get new leadership. And that's basically all that ends up happening here, is a change of leadership. We don't get an end to this group. We get change in management. Now, it's really cool, like watching them try to figure out what's going on with the herd. Them being, him sacrificing, always talking about he's sacrificing his guys. He's been doing this since day one. This idiot who can't afford to lose anybody. We can't, when you have a community in this situation, if they're valuable, these soldiers are way more valuable than I'd say the good chunk of anybody at Alexandria. One of his guys is, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's nice that, but there's a lot of kids and just regular people who don't know that much. They can barely hold their own. There's tons of extras, right, that we don't even know about, that are just there, that can barely pick up a weapon and shit. I mean, or at least, until they're written to be as such, so that they, like we've been trained or they show it, whatever. I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole. So he just like keeps sending people out to die. He knows the guy's gonna die, and he does it anyway because he wanted to know about Maggie. Because that's the obsession. That's the important thing that we need to understand is his obsession with Maggie and his weird admiration for what she's capable of, like the "I hate you but I respect you" bullshit. And so, they get him, and I thought that was interesting. I liked how that went down. The guy's like, "I got this. Oh shit, I do not got this." Once he realizes that there's people in here, and he must have been confused as fuck when he died. He's probably walking around out there. So, the big trick, though, that we didn't know, and I feel like this, I mean, it's a surprise, but not a surprise, but also something that, I don't know, the landmines. They never, like, talk about that when they're rolling up before. Like, whenever they've approached the place, they never say, "Hey, look out. You might want to watch where you're walking when we approach this place." Maybe Leah said something about it a long time ago. I don't know. But the wrinkle for the herd group is that there's landmines. Well, that's an interesting thing. It's just it's a way to like stall time, to drag out the episode a little bit longer, because otherwise the herd would have just come, Maggie would have rolled up in there and taken everything down. But since we're dragging this out into 2022 now, well, we needed reasons. So how do you do that? Well, they're military, so landmines. Now, again, through this whole thing, whose side are you really on? We have all this going on. Daryl trying to figure out he knows what's going on. He sees, the people walking among the whisperers. He knows that Maggie's here, and he's just waiting for his window of opportunity, which just kind of happens. He just walks away at one point, kills one of Carver's guys with that upwards thrust with the blade into his head, which, yeah, that's pretty badass. Unlocks the door for her, and they get in, and then he goes back and, "Where'd you go? Where'd you go?" "Oh, I just had to get some arrows." But they have a launcher, which reminded me of Ghost of Tsushima and some stuff that I've seen in Assassin's Creed, because they do mention Leonardo da Vinci, that they built this thing, which is pretty cool. And they've got like explosives tied to it, like they look like fireworks almost. So that's, it's a nice thing, but they don't really get to use it until the end. And even then, we don't even know what's going to happen. But since there's only like 4 of them down there, right? You've got Negan. He's not going to die. You got Maggie. She's not going to die. You got Daryl. We fucking know he's not going to die. And we got Elijah. One of these things is not like the other. Oh yeah, he doesn't have plot armor. So where's the real threat here? But before we get into that, we have to discuss the very end of this. So Maggie gets in, hot wires a car, ditches out at the last second, and runs a truck right through their gate, letting all the walkers in. So now the decision is, what do we do? Well, Carver decides to fire the launcher into his own people, which is finally a bridge too far for Leah. Because he keeps talking about, God will protect us, and they are sacrifices to God. It's their time to die. And so when Daryl pulls his knives out and Leah pulls her knives out, it's like, well, Leah was going to pull her knives out anyway. This was her moment. But to take this out and be like, no, we can't do this to our own people. Because finally tells her. And how did we think this was going to go? What did I say? You know, what did any of us say in our heads when we go, wonder what she's going to feel like when she finds out that you're not with her, that you are with them, which, you know, is so obvious. It's so obvious. This cliched, you know, I'm one of you, I'm not one of them storylines that we've seen a million times before. And will a million times more past this. It's how you execute that plot trope. It's how you find new ways to take an old thing and make it new. But they don't here. It's all real obvious of what's going to happen. She feels betrayed, but she still helps kill Carver. She's the one who kills Carver, who just goes down like nothing. Stabs him in the throat, stabs him in the back of the head. The guy was basically zero threat. Which is why I said that he could have gotten taken out at any point in time by Daryl. And since this was just basically management change, you know, like who's more dangerous now, Leah or Carver? Because Leah calls and says, Daryl killed Carver. You know, gives him a chance to escape. Aw, isn't that sweet? He should have just fucking killed her. But of course, again, we can't. We can't now because now we have another enemy. We've gotten rid of one and put another one in charge. And even though Daryl knows about the launcher, when he's down there fighting them, he doesn't say, hey guys, we need to get the fuck out of here. She's got a launcher. Now you could say, well, he didn't have time. They were just in the middle of the fight. You could be saying it while you're fighting. They got a bunch of fucking launchers. Ah! They're going to fire arrows at us. Stab, stab. You know, come on. Haven't you ever read a comic book? People are always talking during a fight. Spider-Man does it all the time. So she's going to fire. We see her start to fire the launcher, and that's it. That's the end of the episode. And since we know that they're all going to be fine, what, maybe they'll take an arrow like in the arm or some crap that they'll be fine after like an episode? That's another thing. Man, some of these people have been taking injury upon injury upon injury in this little bit of a season against the Reapers. Think about how many times they've been stabbed and cut up and whatever. Negan's been hurt a lot, and he's still walking around like nothing. Remember he got stabbed when they first got ambushed, man, you know? So I don't... Maybe I'm remembering that wrong. I don't know. But here we go. We had this chance. We had this opportunity. Make this episode, longer. But we don't. And now we have to wait till 2022 to find out things that we already know. Leah could have put, I don't know. The Reaper storyline needed to end. We didn't get any of the Commonwealth. We didn't get any of it. So I'm praying I'm wrong and that there is another episode coming this year where we can finish this off in some form, hopefully. We're still not at the end of the Negan-Maggie conflict, which, I mean, look, there's always going to be tension, but I mean, we really need it to come to a head. And just to find out, just introduce the governor of the Commonwealth. They already have the pictures and everything. It's been released. We already know what the actor looks like because, nothing is hidden anymore. There are no secrets. Everything gets found out. So we don't even get any of that. Just really, really disappointing in that way. I enjoyed it. I liked watching Carver finally get his, or his Pope. I keep saying Carver. I'm thinking of the villain from Walking Dead Telltale Season 2. Carver. Pope. Whatever. I swear to God somebody called him Carver and I wrote it down. So anyway, that's episode 8, everybody. I don't know what else to say. So we will be back either next week or in the new year. Gives us a chance to review other things. I want to start talking about a few other new shows that are coming up. So if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, and the bell for all notifications as usual. And have a great day, everybody. See you in the next Walking Dead video or one of my other ones. Check out my Halloween reviews that have been popping up all month. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, Halloween reviews for horror movies, scary movies, whatever. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.